Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Can you smell that? Smells like a rematch. The WBC is behind a rematch between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. So this is from its website, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury 2. So the WBC is removing the obstacles, and I'll go through the statement here and then on to some thoughts. Some thoughts about a potential rematch, the unanswered questions, but Dominic Breazeale, what happens with him? There's a little bit of an indication in the statement, but who knows? The guy's been waiting on his stool for a year now. The World Boxing Council conducted a voting through the Board of Governors which resulted in a unanimous agreement to sanction a direct rematch between WBC heavyweight champion Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Wilder and Fury gave boxing one of the best fights in the heavyweight division in a long time, which has created tremendous popular demand for the fans to see a rematch. The WBC is happy to confirm that a direct rematch has been approved and will create in a ruling which will also consider the mandatory status of the division. I wish to once again congratulate Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury for their great battle inside the ring and for their exemplary sportsmanship after the bout. That's the WBC statement. It does appear that it's meant to be coming from an individual, but anyway, it could be Mauricio Suleiman, could be the WBC more broadly, issued by the WBC on its website. So the obstacles to a rematch have been removed. There was some doubt about what would happen in terms of a rematch, in the sense that no one lost the fight, so they didn't need to trigger any clauses which apparently they had in their contracts. Frank Warren, Tyson Fury's promoter, he said he was going to be writing to the WBC along with the British Boxing Board of Control about the controversial split decision draw and to order an immediate rematch, but apparently that is not necessary. The WBC has seen what's gone on. Clearly, they're on board for the rematch and they're going to move mountains to make it happen. So Tyson Fury, if he wants that fight, he will get the rematch against Deontay Wilder, who has stated that is his preferred option. He wants to give Tyson Fury a rematch, and let's face it, it's going to be a much bigger fight the second time around. Sure, there was quite a bit of buzz for this first fight, but there was also some doubts in the lead up to it. Some people thought Tyson Fury wasn't ready. Some people thought Deontay Wilder was trying to cherry pick Tyson Fury when he wasn't ready. We didn't know what Fury would come to the table with, and clearly he came better than advertised. And it has gone down as one of the most entertaining and controversial fights of the year for a number of reasons. The action in the ring and outside of the ring post-fight. Obviously, Deontay Wilder's had a number of things to say, some of it controversial, some of it deluded in the wake of the fight. Tyson Fury, he seems to be basking in the glow, the reflected glory from this fight. Even though it was a draw, many people thought that he won it, and he's been treated like a winner. In front of Manchester United fans the other day, Fury was treated like a hero. And he says he would like to get the rematch if they can make it to the United Kingdom. So I guess, with this obstacle from the WBC removed, some of these questions about where will this fight be? Is it going to be in the United States again? I know Tyson Fury fans and other boxing fans are saying, well, hang on, look what we've just seen. There was a dodgy card there, 115, 111 in favor of Deontay Wilder. Why would you want to risk it? Because there is the, suspicion of corruption with that scorecard. The draw, it's not inconceivable, and a number of people think it was a draw. Potentially Fury won by a couple of rounds. I had Fury winning by a couple of rounds. But, a United Kingdom fight, I guess you could say if they did stage it in the United Kingdom, it could be a stadium fight, it could be 75,000 at Old Trafford, potentially other stadiums are available. You've also got options of New York, Las Vegas, and potentially there could be some other venues that would want to hold this fight because it's going to be bigger. We've seen 300,000 plus pay-per-view buys in the United States, $75 a pop. So that's a pretty decent coin for the first fight. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 2, it's going to do bigger business. Potentially, you could look at maybe doubling the pay-per-view result in the United States. In the United Kingdom, we don't know the results, the international buys, who knows, but money's going to be trickling in from all over the place, and if it's looking really good, certainly if it makes sense, it's going to make dollars, and they'll do it all again. But in terms of what the WBC is saying, it's going to create a ruling which will also consider the mandatory status of the division. Well, clearly that can only relate to Dominic Breazeale, and this guy has been, waiting now for an age for his shot at the WBC title. So he fought a final eliminator against Eric Molina in late 2017. He was confirmed as the mandatory, about 6-7 months ago, February, March time, whatever it was. Since then, he's been waiting, he's been calling out Wilder, but he said recently he's stopped calling out Wilder because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's kind of wasting his breath, which he has been. And the WBC, obviously, with this sanctioning of the rematch, saying it's on board, well, that just means that Dominic Breazeale, he's going to wait further. But in terms of it addressing the situation, the mandatory situation in the division, I would have to hazard a guess that what the WBC is going to do because of this rematch is probably have Dominic Breazeale fight for some sort of interim title. That would make sense. That's not unheard of, and potentially it's addresses Dominic Breazeale's status within the division. And you'd have to imagine that the opponent is likely to be either Dillian Whyte or Luis Ortiz, number 1 and number 2. Dominic Breazeale currently rated somehow, I can't fathom it. He's the mandatory challenger. He's rated at number 4 in the WBC rankings, behind Whyte, behind Ortiz, behind Tyson Fury. So Dillian Whyte, they would have to at least offer this to him, you would imagine, if they are going to have an interim fight. But I guess in terms of Whyte, if he gets through Derek Chisora later this month, he will be in line for an Anthony Joshua title fight in April at Wembley. But it really depends what they're ordering and when, because who knows, maybe Dillian Whyte doesn't get that fight, and will he want to fight Dominic Breazeale? Effectively, that will be another fight he has to have before getting a title fight against the Deontay Wilder. And there's no guarantees. He might become an interim champ if he fights Dominic Breazeale, but if he fights Anthony Joshua, obviously that's a direct title shot. But who knows? But Luis Ortiz, for me, that just feels more probable. It just kind of feels like Dillian Whyte might be spoken for in another big fight coming up if he beats Derek Chisora. And Luis Ortiz, he's got to do something between now and a potential rematch with Deontay Wilder, because that's what he's looking at. Sure, there's this talk of Joe Joyce and fighting him next year, but I just don't know if there's the money there. I just don't know if there's really enough there to get Luis Ortiz on board for that, especially if the WBC comes through and offers him a fight for an interim title. But yeah, poor old Dominic Breazeale, he's been waiting for an age. He's not going to get his title shot if they have this rematch. And it's looking odds on we're going to get that rematch. And I would also say, in terms of a rematch, obviously Tyson Fury, with his performance, he's turned a lot of heads, and including Ring Magazine. Ring Magazine, the Bible of boxing, now has Tyson Fury number 2 in its heavyweight rankings above Deontay Wilder. Now, this is going to get some people's noses right out of joint. But effectively, if you go to the Ring TV site and read the article, effectively they're saying that Tyson Fury, in their view, did enough to win that fight, and on the basis of that, they're raising him up to number 2 over Deontay Wilder, who drops 1 spot to number 3. So Associate Editor Tom Gray, he says Fury, by overwhelming consensus, won that fight. I do not have the monopoly on the truth, but I have encountered 3 people who felt differently. Forget subjective scoring. Forget the usual drivel that gets spouted on social media in an attempt to avoid the obvious. Wilder lost, and poll averages I've seen favour Fury, 75-25. By not acknowledging who won the draw, we effectively endorse the 115-111 card that was submitted by an inept judge who had the temerity to give Wilder the first 4 rounds. That is absolutely disgusting. Hear on that one. Fury has a better resume and he won the fight. Why should Wilder be above him because Christmas came early? Our decision should be based on who we thought won the fight on points. To put it another way, if Joshua Wilder gets announced next week, in bracket that's never happening, would you be okay with the Ring title being at stake? I certainly wouldn't. And there is some opposing views in here that do believe Deontay Wilder should have stayed at number 2, but clearly the overall sort of result of the Ring Magazine's ratings is Tyson Fury leapfrogs Deontay Wilder. What else are they saying here? Fury advances to number 2, Wilder drops to number 3. Jarrell Miller advances 1 spot from number 9 to number 8 after stopping unrated Bogdan Dinu in 4 rounds on November 17. Yeah, Jarrell Miller, kind of a bit of a forgotten man in the division right now, fighting guys no one wants to see him fight. And, doesn't that remind you of someone who was getting a lot of criticism a few years ago for that? Miller, he needs to actually fight someone decent next because, he's never going to get the respect from fans if he doesn't. So Jarrell Miller, big missed opportunity in 2018. He might have sort of positioned himself a little bit closer to a title, but really he hasn't done anything to sort of get fan support on board for him. Anyway, I'll wrap it up there. What do you make of it all? The WBC seemingly taking away the hurdles. It wants Wilder Fury 2. Dominic Breazeale taking on Carlos Negron December 22nd in what shapes as some sort of stay busy fight. He's going to continue waiting. Potentially the WBC may come through with some sort of interim bout for him to fight in. We'll have to see. And the Ring magazine, they've dropped Deontay Wilder one spot, putting Tyson Fury in at number 2. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.